the difference between Asian food and also, Western food is generally very heavy on sauces. Therefore, restaurants have to elevate their packaging standards to ensure the food quality can remain consistent, because consumer interest in the authenticity and quality, in food. The food delivery is not accommodating only for one person, two person, but, start to expand, for more towards a family.
We are here today with Kitty Lu from HungryPanda. Learn more about HungryPanda at hungrypanda.co. Kitty, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So what I'm excited about is my understanding, and we're about to learn a whole lot about you and HungryPanda. It's a takeout service, a takeout app for Asian cuisine. Is that the basic idea? And if not, please help me understand better.
That's right. So, HungryPanda, we serve a niche market, in all the overseas, markets, especially for Asian communities. We were established in 2017. We actually was funded in the UK when our CEO and the founding team was actually still studying in the Nottingham University. The platform was born actually from a very simple but yet compelling need experienced first-handed by the founders as international students struggling to find authentic Chinese food in the UK to start with. And then from that outset, HungryPanda, we have started to really focus sharply on that particular niche market, tailoring our user experience with Chinese interfaces to overcome culture and language barriers. And therefore, that's how our app actually got started. And we are very lucky enough, we have been growing really fast, within the past 6 years. And now we expanded into 10 different countries, including obviously US, Canada, UK, France, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, and Singapore.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. So clearly there's a lot of maybe cultural differences, maybe different ways people use their phones, different apps. What are some of the challenges your company faces as you enter, for instance, North America or any competitive market?
Yep. So I think as a Asian background companies, when we first go into the North American, market, the first challenge obviously is the cultural difference, and also the local regulatory, requirements that we need to meet, because every country, every region has different regulations, and especially with food delivery, a company at the moment, as we know, the US is actually coming out with all the new regulations, lately. Therefore, that's one of the challenges as well. And also the intense competition, from the established local or global brands. And for us, when we entering the North American market, obviously, DoorDash, Uber, the giants, they has already occupy the mass market, but although just in the Asian food delivery market, we also have competitors like Chalbus and some other brands. So obviously we were the new brand going to the market, therefore that's the main challenge that we faced. But we were actually quite confident and lucky enough, because we have a very good team structure. Therefore all of our team members has experience opening markets in different countries. So unlike Uber or DoorDash, when they are opening a new market, for example, North American market and Australian market is very different. People have different consumer behavior, but for us, the good thing is although we are in different countries, but we are serving the same type of people, which is the overseas Chinese, overseas Asian customers. Therefore the consumer consumer behavior is rather similar. Therefore, for us, although we have the challenge, but it's easier for us to actually dive in and then, adapt it, in a rapid, rhythm.
Got it. So what I'm thinking about is so many people, whether it's through HungryPanda or Uber or somewhere else, they just press some buttons, their food arrives. They don't really understand what it takes to actually do that. So my guess is those regulations, just following up on your idea of regulations, is North America the toughest audience when it comes to regulations?
Regulations now we're talking about is more towards for the riders, how do we protect them? Obviously there are, the minimum standards and stuff. I think because what we call the gig economy, is still considering a new industry in no matter what part of the world. Therefore, both North America, Australia, the UK, all the countries are coming out with new regulations to actually protect, this particular industry. Therefore, I think it's equally because we are all at the same stage that, from growing from a new industry to a more mature, industry at the moment.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Now, your company did something really amazing, which is you released a trends report from 2023. When we look at the food trends that you noticed, what's our biggest takeaway? What should we be noticing about that trend report, and what should that be telling us?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for myself is the growing consumer interest in the authenticity and quality, in food. Because for example, when you talk about Chinese food, in North America or in the UK, the first thing you think of is actually Cantonese food because Cantonese food is the first arrived, into the overseas market. But now from the trend report, especially for the US, we can see all the hot Sichuan hot pots and mala tang, all these are more modern and trendy or more northern cuisine start to really get in the popularity. I think this is something that's blow our mind as well. Therefore, I think it's a strong signal to the food industry to really focus on the authenticity, offering high quality ingredients. This is something I think is actually quite interesting.
Outstanding. Now, when we talk about trends, was there anything we found in that report that was surprising?
Mm, I was actually personally quite surprised that, how in different countries, because that trend report we covered obviously US, UK, and also Australia. For the past years, obviously the most popular item or, we say the category is definitely bubble tea. And now, as we can see, the hot pot, stuff actually, coming on top of, all this fried chicken, bubble teas and stuff, that actually suggests our local consumers start to really adapt into a more authentic flavor that Chinese food actually offering instead of the people always ordering like honey chicken, spring side pork. They learn to really understand, oh, that's Chinese people eat in China. They really start to learn and understand and admire about the spice actually in the food. This is something actually I find quite interesting.
So we're talking so much because of your report about 2023 food trends.
Yeah.
You've studied it a lot more than I have. Are there any predictions? I know we're almost halfway through 2024. Are there any future predictions we can be looking for that you guys think is around the corner?
Yep. One thing that I noticed in our report is the rising in the family demands, because one is what we call is AOV, so average order value, keeps growing. Therefore, that shows that particular takeaway, the food delivery is not accommodating only for one person, two person, but start to expand for more towards a family demands. Therefore, we can anticipate the age group that actually accepting or keeps using the food delivery services actually start to grow and expand as well. And also another thing that we predict is because there are new services food delivery companies actually opens up, that we can actually see the trend that many people start to order pickup orders starting from last year, actually growing obviously this year as well, which means that you can actually order a pickup order from the app. You can go straight to the restaurant to pick it up without waiting. It's actually helps you to jump the queue. And then using our services differences, when you order a pickup order, is actually cheaper than you ordering at the shop itself. Therefore, this is actually one of the trends that we can see it's actually start to grow.
I love how this genre, this niche is expanding so much, and it really is kind of for the convenience of the consumer. How do they want that experience to go for them?
That's right. And also, I think this is a result, because of the pandemic. During the pandemic, everything has to be contactless. Therefore, the pickup, feature was actually created during that period and also obviously blossomed, afterwards.
Now, you just mentioned the pandemic. Through my understanding is your company survived, you thrived, you learned a lot from that experience. So one of the things you learned is it's really about the packaging, and that elevates the experience. Can you talk a little bit more about what you learned in that experience and what that means for your future?
Yeah. So one thing I think, first thing that we need to discuss is the difference between Asian food and also, Western food is very different, because when we talk about takeaways, on these main platforms, we immediately think about Mexican food, fast food, or obviously these food is easy to prepare, easy to package, and when it's very good with delivery. But it's very different when it comes to Chinese food, in particular, because Chinese food are generally very heavy on sauces. Therefore, restaurants have to elevate their packaging standards to ensure the food quality can remain consistent. Because when you order Chinese food, when you get it, you assume or you expect it to still be hot, to have the best flavor. And when you order Chinese food, is also often with soup that if the packaging is not good, it actually leaks. Therefore, that has always been a challenge that Asian food delivery that we face. And during the pandemic, because China implemented the strictest regulations that prohibiting dining in the restaurants, everyone has to stay at home. Therefore, that actually prompting a shift to the delivery services for profit. Therefore, and because of the market is so big, therefore, I think in China itself, it creates a new packaging, trend that they have the laminatable, packaging in store to make sure all the packaging is sealed and it kept warm. That actually helped the whole industry, globally to maintain a higher standard. And also when we talk about, packaging, another thing is about, during the journey, not only about how to package itself, but also how it goes and travels during the journey. So the laminatable, the sealable, packaging goes really well when it travels. So I think this is what we see has been a good trend that been growing, all around the world, especially with Chinese food at the moment.
Absolutely. I love that. I mean, there's nothing worse than when you get the package and you get to your house and it's broken, it's ripped, it's spilled. So what I'm learning that I'm happy to hear is the superior packaging isn't about looking pretty necessarily. It's about keeping your food secure.
That's right. Because, another thing that we have to consider is how environmental friendly, the packagings could be. Because with Chinese food, it's very hard to using these paper, packages, because, it's heavily on oil, and also, with sauces, it leaks. Therefore, the Chinese food industry has been blamed, for using too much plastic to begin with. Therefore, the new packaging that we can see in trend, aluminum, materials, therefore is much more, environmental friendly.
So we're talking with Kitty Lu from HungryPanda, the app. Find more at hungrypanda.co. That's CO. So the app itself has a lot of features. Let's talk through or walk us through some of the most popular reasons and features and advantages and tools it has. My understanding is user searches, city searches, cuisine searches, but why don't you tell us the best parts about it and how to use it?
Yeah. So comparing with other apps, one thing we find it quite convenient is, on the interface, on the front page, we have a very full-on, restaurant list. And then comparing to other apps, they has already put in category, somewhere, for example, restaurants near you, and then when you go down, this is, try something new, they have already put in the category for you. But then, with each category, it has limited restaurants. What we do is we actually have a full-on, list, but by the tab, you can easily just choose, among these restaurants, search by distance, by popularity, by discounts, by reviews, by delivery times. So it's very easy for you to access. And also, it has a, more what we call, comprehensive list. You have more variety for you to choose from. Therefore, a lot of people come back to us and, leaving us feedbacks. They like this kind of, user experience.
Something we're learning a lot is how much the Asian cuisine market is just exploding. If you're telling me it's around the world. I know I'm in Los Angeles, and the amount of restaurants are just popping up all over the place. What it tells me, and tell me if I'm wrong, is as a consumer, as a foodie, we're looking for quality ingredients, authentic experiences, the culture, the flavors that are associated with Asian cuisine. So if that's true, my question to you is, what should restaurants be learning from this? And what's the best way for a restaurant to make the most of this opportunity, of this new food craze, this trend?
Yeah. I think in the age of technology, leveraging online platforms for visibility, working with, a food delivery platform is definitely one of the way to help them really engaging with consumers. Because when we talk about foodies, these audience, this group, they are young, they're energetic, they are always on social media, they're always online. Therefore, how to promote yourself, in the face, in front of their face, is very important. Therefore, either to work with online platforms that we use our channels to really promote different restaurants, to help them to expand their reach within their comfort zone, is very important. And also for restaurant owners to understand and learn how to use social media to really help restaurants to connect with a broader audience to connect with the foodies is also very important.
Those are all really good tips. We're talking with Kitty Lu from HungryPanda.co. HungryPanda has a food delivery app. Kitty, probably the toughest question I have to ask you. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. You're talking right now to an audience of foodies. Yep. What's your favorite food? What would you order to get on your app?
Well, my favorite food is no difference to what the trend report actually shows us. My favorite food is obviously, Sichuan Malatang as well. So that's what I say, the trend report it shows authenticity, all the audience really like the food like a real Chinese person. Well, the thing is, the reason why I like the malatang is because it's not only delicious, but it's actually quite healthy as well. Although you think about it, it's a hot, spicy soup, but what you put in is fresh vegetables, fresh meat, it's like you cooking your own hot pot, and for yourself. And then it's a very balanced and nutrition, meal. And it's flavorful. When you put all these different ingredients, into the one pot of soup, it brings you more flavors, and it's very fast. And now with the new packaging that we talk about, it's very safe and travels really well, during food delivery process. I think this is one of the popular thing that most people order online, and also it is my favorite as well.
We're talking with Kitty Lu from Hungry Panda. Kitty, as we're wrapping up, people are listening and they're watching you talk about food and they're getting excited, they're getting hungry. Are we currently nationwide in the North America or certain cities, or what's coverage look like?
Yep. So we have about 30 cities covered in the US. Obviously, we're covering New York, LA, all these major cities itself. I will be more than happy to provide you with the full-on city list. And then, despite in the North America market, we also obviously we're in Canada as well. And then, we have just over 80 cities all around the globe, and obviously, as I mentioned, we have about 30 cities in the US itself. The North American market, the US market, is definitely one of the most important and market to us at the moment. And this is also the market that we're gonna work really hard on, in 2024.
Wonderful. Kitty Lu from Hungry Panda. For the audience who's watching and listening right now, what's the best next step? How can they enjoy this app? What should they be doing next to learn more and to get this app on their phone?
Well, if they haven't downloaded, download it to give it a try. And for new users, we actually have, new user vouchers, available for them, to have a few free deliveries, to start with. And then, as I mentioned, we have different features. You can order to deliver, you can order to pick up. It's very convenient to use, very simple. If you have if they have used Uber, DoorDash, is no difference to other platforms. And the good thing is obviously we have a much wider supply for Asian food. Therefore, if you are a Asian food lover, you should have Hungry Panda in your phone.
I love that. Kitty, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to try out the app. It sounds delicious and fun. This has been a great conversation. As we wrap up, thank you.